encampment and waiting for this confrontation at the entry point of the encampment. This is the only hole left that is not boarded up. And you can just feel the tension. You can imagine what it's like down there on the ground as they start to communicate face-to-face with these protesters. There are tons of CHP behind them. We're talking about 300 CHP officers who are getting ready to force their way into this encampment.
Hello and welcome everybody who's tuning in right now at this very moment. There are a large number of protesters at the UCLA campus here.
This is it, folks. You can see a large group here in excess of 200 to 300 CHP officers being dropped off by buses ready to confront these protesters.
Just like he said.
Folks who have been residing in this encampment on the right side of your screen here, and on the left side by that staircase right there, you're looking at a group of supporters who showed up here late in the day, part of a much larger group near the bottom of your screen. This is the same group that just forced LAPD to retreat from the encampment. Not sure how they even made it up there, but in any event, CHP now ready to execute on their orders to take this encampment down, and I think it's about to go down, folks.
You heard it there. There's a crap-o-ton of cops and a crap-a-ton of students and other protesters at the UCLA campus right now, holding an unlawful position, as the media keeps reporting. And it looks like, you know, the authorities are about to confront this group of protesters. It's all adding up. It's all coming together right here. Let's see what happens. Hopefully nobody gets hurt in this this whole situation ends peacefully.
About 1 hour. People are now converging from all over that encampment right to this corner of the quad. You have supporters on the left who are here to defend the encampment, and you have the people who have been setting up this encampment all day, holding the fort down and refortifying this wall, now at the entrance of the encampment. This is the entrance to the courtyard in front of Royce Hall, where those officers have now been dropped off.
It looks like the protesters are building a wall.
Marcel, if you could do me a favor, just take a look and see if there's any other activity on the opposite side of Royce Hall.
This is insane, guys.
Other side?
Absolutely nuts.
Okay. All right, let's go over there.
It looks like some of the there's a lot of umbrellas down there in the front line. I wonder if that's to fend off tear gas or whatnot. They're just staring at each other, the officers and the protesters. There's a little bit of chanting going on. We keep losing the sound, keeps coming back in. Some of the announcers from Sky News keep coming in and telling us, trying to give us reports.
We are watching a standoff here at the entrance of this encampment. The walkway The walkway that leads right in front of Royce Hall is now completely blocked with protesters. You can see another line of CHP officers making their way to the front here. They have a small gap to fill, and it's about, man, I got to say, at least 250 to 300 officers in this group here. They're going to eventually, I would imagine, push their way up here, but this group is ready for a fight. This group is ready for a fight. I can tell you that the California Highway Patrol airship is inbound, making their way back over to campus here.
I don't know if I agree with the announcer there saying that they're ready for fight. Let's let them decide that, not the media, please. Although it does look pretty intense there. You know, there was a fella there down on where the light is. They got people bringing up supplies to this front wall here. This guy keeps running back and forth on that little ledge. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. It looks like the cops are moving in and force.
Protesters coming down with pallets, batons out, and now a confrontation.
Here we go.
CHP officers now coming fist to fist with some of these protesters, ripping some of their defenses right out of their hands. It's a scuffle. It's a scuffle at the bottom of that staircase as they fight for their shields that they've brought to the bottom there. They don't seem very well equipped, to be honest with you. This initial group down there should be easily penetrated by these officers. It's a pretty weak group, actually. They just brought some very weak shielding to try and block the entrance of the quad. But you see, they've got two groups they've got to deal with. There's a group at the top of the entrance, the top of that staircase, and then they've got hundreds of people to their right, your left of the screen here, where folks have come for the purpose of defending this encampment. Here we go. Water bottles being thrown. Who knows what other liquids are being thrown here. You can see that confrontation now as CHP moves in on that staircase. They're going to be as methodical as they can here and try to use the least amount of force possible to make their way up that staircase into the encampment. But it's all happening right now, live on ABC7 and your 24/7 streaming channels here. Chris Christie up in Air 7 HD as we continue to follow major developments here on the campus of UCLA as the CHP prepares to take down this encampment. A confrontation now taking place as hundreds of officers are now face to face with these protesters.
Definitely some confrontation, some rioting is happening. Water bottles are being thrown. I see an umbrella fly across the way. It looks like now they're coming down on the left and the right side. But they're holding the entire quad here, the students and the protesters. I'm assuming most of the protesters are students since we are here at UCLA campus. Let's see what's going on. It's hard to tell from this angle. They need to zoom in. There's a big flash down there, right where the big flash is. That seems where the
is that? Yeah.
That's where the confrontation happens. I don't know if the flash is coming from the protesters or the officers.
Yeah, it's
most likely the officers. Whoa, is that a flash bomb? I don't know how those work. Jesus, it's so bright.
About 100 or so protesters in this corner of the quad. You can see several umbrellas going up.
Maybe the
those umbrellas could be used for defense or offense. We've seen both in the last 24 hours. You can see a large group there at the top of the staircase waiting for those officers. They're going to put up a fight, and we'll see how this plays out here. But
this is like the Alamo here. This is like, you know, Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett fighting off hundreds of the Spanish. I think it was the Spanish, or was it the Mexican army they were fighting? Excuse me. And you know, they were outnumbered, but they were able to hold off the larger army. Oh, maybe that's what's happening here. I wish we could get some sound. Maybe we should check some other channels here. See if I can find any other angles of this.
yep, are they? Okay, copy that. Thank you. I'll tell you what, Johnny, let's go ahead and do a full orbit, and we'll come right back to this position here. I just want to use this opportunity to kind of get a view on the other side of these trees here. If we could do a tight orbit, so we try not to let the building get too much in the way. We'll just want to see the posture of these officers behind them. More objects being thrown at those CHP officers.
Just a heap load of cops there. We got to switch over to another channel here. So we're getting many different cameras here from within side of the crowd on this view. We're going to keep looking for other channels here. This one is a little bit too confusing to check out here. I'll be right back once we find.
Good angle. Let's push all the way in there. Look at these people. They're climbing through the bushes to try and crowd the staircase. You see a whole bunch of people on the staircase with umbrellas extended all the way out here. Let's stay tight in there. Impossible to tell. I'm just trying to decipher what the next steps here are. It's impossible to tell whether there's some kind of dialogue being exchanged here, or what the next move here is for these officers. Trying to figure out what type of tools they can employ here within their rules of engagement to try and figure out how to get to the top of that staircase and move these people out of the way. You can see about 100 people basically on that staircase making their way up the embankment there, and a whole lot of umbrellas now extended in their direction. What are those yellow things? Oh, flashlights. Those are the flashlights. Okay. Sorry, got a lot of flashlights.
Good. If I was a police officer, I would be scared. It doesn't look good for a police officer. This doesn't look good. From this angle, for a police officer, you guys don't look so good. No, scary. Difficult mission. Going all the way up is a difficult mission.
Can't help but feel like the more time they spend here, the more opportunity the rest of the protesters inside the encampment are going to have to prepare here. Even though they've been preparing all day for this moment, you just hate to take that advantage of time away from those officers if they can move quickly up that staircase and somehow eradicate this group right here somehow. It's a tricky space to work with. It's a narrow staircase that leads to the quad up top near Royce Hall. And then you've got this whole other group to the right that they still have to deal with, hundreds of people that are climbing through these bushes and making their way up towards that group of officers. That's what I was thinking. That's why I wanted to see the other side of, if they would have come up from different angles simultaneously. Yep. All right, so that skirmish line is intact. Okay. Additional officers being dropped off. This is a separate bus. This is a separate bus of officers now being dropped off, and they're walking the opposite side of Royce Hall. They're going to come around the other side. Okay. A separate group of officers, a whole other busload of officers has just been dropped off. They're making their way to the east side of Royce Hall. All right, protesters getting ready for a confrontation on the opposite hall as another 50 or so officers make their way along the south side of the hall here towards the quad.
Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
Yep. They may. That makes the most sense. Some of them moved over. Yep. All right, show me the big group. Some people in custody under that walkway. All right, let's bring it back over here. That drone there does not look like a police drone. Yep. All right, so that some of these officers have come from that original group. There was another bus that was dropped off here. I estimate maybe it's hard to tell with that tree there, but at least 50 or 60 officers over here now forming a new skirmish line as they get ready to advance on the opposite side of Royce Hall. You can see students confronting these officers, trying to communicate. Perhaps some chanting going on here. What is that they've used to block the staircase? There's a staircase that leads down, and that looks like dumpsters that they've used to form a blockade. And here they go. They're going to move forward. Is that a different drone or another drone? It's another drone. More CHP moving down to the bottom here. All right, they're starting to scatter out more. This is smart here as they kind of surround this corner of the quad. There's a group right there that's going to move forward against those dumpsters, and then you have about how many over there on the right, all the way to the right? A small little group there, yeah, about another dozen or so that are now just about 30 feet away from the front of the encampment. again, that's the east side of the encampment. If we move back over to the west side of the encampment, there is more chanting and flashlights in the faces of those CHP officers. Even a laser at one point I saw there pointing at those officers. They're screaming and chanting and refusing to let those officers budge. They haven't pushed too hard yet, but there's a lot of people in their way, and they've got to make their way up a small, narrow staircase to get into the quad here. So it's a tight space that they're working with. We do. Same pilot. And roughly 35, 40 minutes of fuel. Sounds good. All right. This is a larger contingent, perhaps from the original squad there that are moving into the south side of Royce Hall. I think they see the opportunity for somewhat easier access than that other staircase, but it seems like they've almost divided it in half, maybe. Are they? All right. So that front line there, that front line of students appears to be putting their hands up, some of them at least, and just giving up. We'll see if they can advance through those bushes here or maybe tear down that blockade. But it looks like not much resistance from that first group of students. The students are actually removing the blockade and moving the barricade from the stairs. All right, that blockade is completely gone. The barricade is gone. A large group of CHP officers now with the freedom to move down this staircase and start ripping away, I would presume, at that plywood. Look at the dozen. There's a dozen or so CHP officers now closing in on the front of the encampment, and it looks like somebody's about to give the order to go ahead and move in here. I think we're seconds away from seeing some movement here on the east end, on the east side of this encampment, where there is a large makeshift plywood wall that has been under construction all day. We'll see just how well constructed it was, but I think there's plenty of opportunity here for them to penetrate this wall and make entry into the encampment here. Doesn't seem like much in their way. They're starting to make their way down the staircase. There's another group of officers already at the bottom. Here they come. They're coming down the staircase. Maybe they're looking for some more people who are willing to negotiate here. Look at that. A whole group of students that were blocking the staircase now walking away with their hands up, being led down the back of Royce Hall. Dozens of students now being escorted away from Royce Hall with their hands up, and officers now making their way down the staircase. I think CHP sees an opportunity here to maybe negotiate with some of these people on the leading edge of the encampment. Perhaps. All right, some barricades coming down. They're going to penetrate this wall here pretty quickly, I think. CHP officers looking for any opening to get in there and penetrate that corner of the quad where it is, again, it's been heavily fortified throughout the day, and now they are starting to rip away at the barricade that is holding up some of that wood. They have stockpiled tons of wood over the course of the last 24 hours, and you can see that a bulk of the people in this encampment have gravitated to either side of the encampment, where there are now two sets of CHP officers attempting to penetrate the perimeter of this encampment. They've opened this side. This is the walkway that leads to the front of Royce Hall. I think that leads to the front door, if I'm not mistaken. It's a foyer that kind of leads to the front of the building here. It looks like it may be penetrated. There are a whole group of supporters and protesters under that roof there, and you can see umbrellas trying to conceal, or maybe, I don't know what they're doing with those umbrellas, quite frankly. But it's bad luck, right? They're tearing apart at that barricade. Some more pallets being pulled away here. still, yeah. Yeah, what you? Yeah, you guys say when? Really difficult to see what's happening in here, quite frankly, but it does look like they're chipping away at whatever barricades are in their way, using multiple entry points to try and break through here. You can see them tearing up umbrellas, tearing up signs, pulling away signs, and they're taking more barricades down. On both the upstairs and at the bottom of those stairs, plywood is now coming apart, and that wall is about to come down. That plywood wall is about to come down, and the end is near for this encampment. It certainly appears as though they are not facing that much resistance, quite frankly. They're working very methodically, but they don't seem to be putting up with much fight. Yeah.
We're watching the protesters encampment at UCLA. This is happening live. There's probably 300 cops, if not more, trying to tear down the walls. The protesters keep building the walls back up. It's getting wild. I'm going to reset the way we're seeing this so that you guys can hear the sound. Here we go. Back to the riots. Here comes the tear gas, it looks like. I don't know if that came from the officers or if it came from the students. There's been loud booms going on, and now all of a sudden there's a bunch of smoke. Hello to you, Walk the Grid. Thank you for tuning in here. This is insanity. The tear gas is now coming in on the right wing there. The cops are trying to come in on two sides. They've got the this whole little area at UCLA blocked off. They've been building it for the last 24 hours, apparently. It's wild, man. It's right down the street. I mean, not right down the street. It's about 14, 15 miles from where I'm at. If I wanted to drive over there, I could, but why would I? Talk to us, lady.
Can you guys? Yeah, I'm ready to go. Is that pepper spray? With this nut?
Yeah. That's all got released.
I'm going to see if we can find another angle of this action. I'll be right back.
That's right. Well, just a few minutes ago, they threw this fire extinguisher toward the officers and toward the crowd. Our security person here was able to move us out of the way so that we wouldn't get hit. But this is the kind of stuff that they are throwing from the encampment this way. And so we also saw a large cloud of smoke, and we thought, oh my gosh, what is that kind of a chemical, some pepper spray? Last night, that's what we dealt with, and it is absolutely horrible. You can't breathe. And so they are fighting back, and it is not an easy takedown situation. The students are standing their ground. They're sending, fire extinguishers towards the crowd over here, towards the officers, and water bottles, things like that. They're holding the umbrellas to protect themselves, but you can see CHP is not stopping. They're moving in. They broke down the barriers in one area. Of course, they keep firing off those flashbang, which sounds like we are in a war zone, which is a huge battle that's taking place right now here at UCLA. There is one, Sam, if you walk over with me, I believe there are a couple of students over here who have been arrested. These are the first, let me see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students who have been arrested. They were at the encampment. And again, these students were given so many warnings. Since 6 p.m., it was announced that this was an unlawful assembly. And if they did not walk away from the encampment, they would face being arrested. And that is exactly what is taking place right now. CHP officers there doing what they promised they would do. Now, if we go back this way, Sam, you can see that CHP is still continuing to move forward. Again, there are hundreds of students behind these barricades. And so this is going to be something that's going to take hours. And there's another fire extinguisher. Yeah, that's another fire extinguisher that yeah, there's just so much going on here that it's really difficult to let you know what exactly it is until we actually see it. But it's a dangerous situation. It really is. These students, we are hoping that they don't get hurt. Okay.
Pretty wild here, folks. Pretty wild. This is a live coverage of the protesters at UCLA versus the Los Angeles Police Department. And oh, here they go. They're taking out another panel of the wall. And the students will probably replace it with another piece of wall. They are fighting back. They're throwing fire extinguishers, big smoke things going off, there's flash bombs. And this guy's this little angry cop is a little upset. Look at him. He's aggressive, throwing stuff around, throwing it at the news camera. He's not really thinking with his head there, with his noggin. He's just a little aggressive guy. Oh, reaching his pocket. What he's pulling out is he grabbing his handkerchief. Oh, he's climbing over the wall. He's grabbing a student. They're trying to, they're grabbing more parts of the wall and the barricade that the students have built all day over the last 24 hours, apparently. And they are trying to get in on two sides, and it's taking some time. The students are fighting back. They're holding strong. It reminds me of the Alamo. Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie were holding down the Alamo, fighting off an army that was much larger than them. Smokes, clouds in the air. The cops are just hanging out. Some of them are video cameraing on Instagram. That little guy in there is trying to get a raise. Look at him. He's the most aggressive, active dude in there. Tossing stuff, flipping stuff around. He's the littlest one. He's definitely trying to come up in an apartment. He's tired of getting picked on. He's out there doing his job the best he can. There's a handful of students sitting over on the grass that have been arrested. Protesters, I should call them. And they are working on the wall here. Shining bright lights in the students' faces as they tear down panel after panel. There's a full party out there tonight at UCLA. What's that cop loading up? Uh-oh, he's putting something in a gun. They were showing close-ups of some of the kids that got arrested. And there's a young gal wearing a UCLA shirt, a little pink helmet. She doesn't look much harmful. She looks very peaceful. Peaceful protester getting arrested. Probably not the one that should be getting arrested right now. She didn't look like somebody that would have thrown something. Where's that little guy in there? There he is. He's out there still trying to get his raise. He's throwing stuff around, trying to make sure the Sarge sees his handiwork. His first riot. He's a little bit hyped up. A couple of these guys around him, they've been here before. It's not their first rodeo. Doesn't seem like they're penetrating, just taking down the wall. They're probably trying to get a lot of wall down before they start moving in there, since there's more of them on the inside. Now, this is going to take some time, folks. This isn't just going to end in the next 30 minutes. I think it's going to take a few hours till we finally see a resolution here between the protesters at UCLA and the Los Angeles Police Department. The Highway Patrol, over 300 officers out there apparently. Several busloads were shipped in. Hey.
Yes, they are going in. And again, they've got, if you pan this way, Sam, we're here with Sam Dubé. And you can see they've got a long way to go to tear down the entire barricade.
So
but what they have been doing is tossing the trash can, some of those cans, and you can see above there one of the protesters do have masks, and there's a struggle going on over here now. But again,
they're fighting against the protesters, pulling down more wall, shooting, probably rubber bullets. Hopefully they're shooting rubber bullets.
But
yep, rubber bullets is just reported.
About rubber bullets, they are extremely painful. If they hit your leg, your arm, they could break your arm. But they're trying to get into this encampment to get everyone arrested and out of this encampment. Again, the students were warned about this over and over. We were near the encampment for hours, and we kept hearing that speaker, the recording, letting them know what was going to happen, and they had time to leave.
That's not how a protest works, lady. They don't leave when they're told they're gonna, they have to leave. They're trying to make a point. Getting arrested is part of protesting. That's part of the deal. You know, there's organizations out there protesting. Oh my God, lots of smoke coming out of the middle. Who knows what the hell's going on now? Doing their best to blind the officers and hold them off as long as they can. Flash bombs going off left and right from both sides of the fence.
That was the big concern. That's correct. That was the biggest concern.
Whoa, you can't even see anything. It's so
we were
bright
talking
from the
about
lights.
possibly more than 1,000 people that were standing outside, and they were ready to rush in. They were very prepared for that. They talked about it, but of course, it took so many hours that by the time this happened, many of the people that were outside, the supporters of the pro-Palestinian protesters, they ended up leaving. There are still some people out there, but so far I'm looking behind me and no one has come into this area. The
students are holding strong, folks.
Well. They could be holding the line, but right now, all of the action that's taking place, you're watching it right now. That is CHP that is going in. They're breaking down the barriers to get to the students and to get them in handcuffs and out of this area. No, absolutely not. And honestly, it is scary when you hear the loud bangs. I've never been in a war zone, but I can only imagine that it sounds like this because it is insane. It is so chaotic. It is dangerous. When they toss that fire extinguisher in this direction, that could have hit any one of us. Obviously, that was meant for the CHP officers. It is just a dangerous situation here. And again, I just wish these students would peacefully give up so that no one gets hurt. And it doesn't appear to be the case.
These officers have a lot of work if they want to take down this whole wall. Most of them are just standing around, not knowing what to do. Nobody's giving anybody direction. There's one little guy out there that wants a raise, and he must have employed a team of his buddies out there to start ripping these gates and plywood pieces and pylons away so they can get a broader way to enter in here. There's one guy doing it for about 30 minutes and everybody else is standing around. Now, finally, he employed another group of guys. This guy's going for a raise. He's out there somewhere. I haven't seen him on screen in a few minutes because he's probably employing more buddies about that. It was his idea, folks. All right, so they've been trying to take down the wall in one area. They were successful, but the protesters just keep rebuilding the wall. Rubber bullets are being shot. Fire extinguishers being launched from the protester side into the crowd of the HCP and the APD, trying to keep them out of their fortress for as long as they can. I wonder if anybody's been injured this time. We've had no reports of injuries. Having trouble with this section of the gates. They've got them tied together pretty good here. Apparently there was cement inside water bottles being thrown by the protesters and the officers. Oh, that guy just had a little flinch at that last explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, good work, buddy. Working hard to tear this wall down. Is that Trump's wall? Is that the wall Trump built? Whoa, flash bombs going everywhere.
Whoa.
I can't believe they haven't brought in a tank in yet. Just run these sections down. You guys are on TV. You better make it look easy. These students know what they're doing there. Protesters. Who knows if they're students? Allegedly students, since they're on the USCLA campus. Passionate people caring about things out there in the world, coming together, protesting, getting arrested, all in the name of something. Or all in the name of passion, compassion. This is wild. It's hard to tell how much directions these officers have been given. At times, it just seems like they're standing around and doesn't even see sure what they're doing. And then one guy will pick up a chair and throw it, almost hitting the camera operator. This protesting situation is built up. They built an encampment here on the UCLA campus, surrounded themselves in the quad. It built a wall with plywood and these metal gates here. What's up, Drumar? Drumar in the house. We're watching this live happening right now in California, in Los Angeles, at the UCLA campus. Oh, look at that guy standing up there looking down at the officers. They're trying to assess the situation. They've been shooting. Nobody's looking. They got a gun pointed right at him. He's just looking down.
Okay.
This is bizarre. He's standing up there trying to hold on the plywood when these cops are coming. It's going to get interesting, folks. This is a front row ticket here. What's up, Bierman? Yes, this is happening live right now. They built this encampment for the last 24 hours. There's the protesters on the inside. They've been throwing fire extinguishers at the cops. There's flashbangs going off left and right. There's tear gas, rubber bullets. Only a handful have been arrested. They keep rebuilding their wall. Cops taking their guns and looks like they're coming to get in here. Are they going to be able to build it up? Are more fire extinguishers coming out the thing there? This doesn't look like it's going to end very well. Drumar, let's hear what you have to say here. I'm so tired of everyone fighting bullshit. Yeah, no, it's true. I agree with you. It's all crapola. All crapola. If you're asking me, you know, I don't have an opinion on this one way or the other, and I'll say reason why is because I don't fucking know anything. I haven't done my DYR, and my assumption is that, you know, a lot of people haven't done their DYR, and, you know, if I just feel like it's the sticky situation for somebody outside of these countries to have an opinion, especially Americans. I think it's insane, but it's, you know, America's a free country. People can do whatever the hell they want, and hopefully this helps in some way, shape, or form. But it's not really my judgment call here on what's actually going on one way or the other. I don't have one. You guys know me. I'm a journalist. I report the news. But all I hope is that not a bunch of people get hurt in this scenario. I hope that this is this is the right side of history. I hope it's meaningful. I hope it's worth it. I hope it's worth going to jail. All this stuff. We're living in crazy times, bros. The world is going crazy times. But you know what? I think we're always living in crazy times. If you're alive and you're living on this earth, there's not been a moment where it's not crazy. And now with the internets and stuff, we know about more crazy stuff than we ever have before. It's wild, man. Wow. Look at this. They're tearing down the wall. Students are just on the other side. Protesters, whatever you want to call them. Probably the majority of the protesters are students. But yeah, fighting's lame. All this is lame. Like, really. Nobody here at this little standoff really, I just don't know if they have much of a hand in what's going on, or if it's really going to change things over there, what's going on. I'm sure there's other protests going on all over the country as well, just the world. It's just confusing, you know, like I was seeing a young girl who was arrested earlier, a protester, just looked so sweet and innocent, and like she didn't seem very harmful. And, you know, it's hard for me to think that, like, man, she must have just told her something, or somebody that she liked told her something, or a bunch of people, she saw a pamphlet on the ground. Like, everything that, all your opinions and judgments are learned from somewhere, and it's only always half the truth, you know, especially here in this country. Who knows what the reality is of what's going on behind the scenes of this war over there that they are protesting and so passionately strong feelings about what's the deal. I am surprised the cops aren't using drones. I've seen a couple of drones, but I haven't seen that, like, nothing that they're like using like to shoot gas or tear just. But it seems like they've ran a couple drones over the area when I was watching a bird's eye view earlier on a different channel. But yeah, this angle felt like the most up in ya angle, where the other ones were all from helicopters. Well, they definitely took more of that corner, and they've pushed them back a little bit. It's definitely seemed like, as the media has been pushed down farther, and up in that area, that's where all the drums was happening. When the wall comes tumbling down, and the wall comes tumbling down, tumbling down. All right, I think I'm gonna. Well, I'll leave the stream going for a little while here, but I'm gonna leave the air for a little while, if not for the rest of the unit, or for a little while. Preparing myself for bed. But, what do you got here, Drummer? Let's see what you guys are saying. If you guys are talking, I'll stay. The last time there was such big university protests was during the Vietnam War. Is that true? It's been that long since we've had these types of protests on campuses, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. That would be right, I guess. I mean, we really didn't come together for any of the Iraq wars or. Oh, Jesus, couldn't hear me. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has been since Vietnam. Like, I don't think any of the Gulf Wars or the Iraq Wars or anything. There was some protesting, but nothing to the magnitude of UCLA blocking off and creating a little fortress compound. They're spraying, but they should have looked over the wall first, because there's only one guy down there, and he seemed to get away from the spray pretty easily. Yeah, I think you're right on that. Protesters. Veerman says America learns nothing from South Africa as an example of what not to do. 100%. America doesn't learn anything. I mean, same like you mentioned Vietnam, somewhere. It's like, you know, like, we were there. We had all these people there. It wasn't our war. Not saying that, you know, we shouldn't get involved in other, you know, fights in the world or whatever, but it just is like, oh shit, look at that. Look at the smoke coming out from that fire extinguisher. From the protesters aiming it, they're just wasting it. They got to hold on to that until they get right in front of the blasted LAPD. They really want to make it last. Not at this scale. No, you're right. Not at this scale. We haven't seen it in a while. You know, I mean, the George Floyd protests were probably the biggest protests that we had seen.
He was just saying they threw a bottle of water, and the officer was telling us, be careful, because it could be urine, and he said something else that I couldn't make out. But they are, what is it? Concrete. That's right. We did see that earlier. Our security guard was actually,
I guess they're throwing urine at the reporters.
Or maybe not students, but people at the encampment. They were filling water bottles with cement and water, and obviously that would be something that would be very heavy, and if it hits your head, you could get hurt. But you can just see here they've been setting off those fire extinguishers, which of course makes it really difficult to breathe. And at one point, they tossed the fire extinguisher in this direction. We were able to move out of the way. Thank God we weren't hit. But if you get hit by one of those, you could pass out. I mean, it's dangerous. And
Oh, they're shooting. He's shooting. They're shooting.
the officers there trying to get control of the situation, but they've got a long day ahead of them. And, we were talking about why did it take so long? Why did it take so long? Well, what we kept hearing was there was a huge concern with the supporters because there were so many people here that were also not part of the encampment, but they were here to support the people in the encampment. And if the officers had rushed in like they are now, trying to remove the encampment, there was a possibility of that group also rushing into the lawn and then causing even more chaos. So the idea was to kind of get them a little bit tired and maybe, whoa, here, what is that? Another water bottle. And so the idea was to get them tired and hopefully they would be gone by the time that this would happen. And so that's what you're seeing right now. I've looked back there. Everyone is gone. They were probably ordered out of here. And at this point, it's media, the officers, CHP, there's LAPD. There are officers from different agencies as well. But as you can see, the ones that are taking down this encampment are CHP officers. And it's taken quite some time. They are. Oh, absolutely. They are making progress with the barriers, but they haven't, the students and the people inside the encampment have not made it easy. Not at all. They keep setting off those, fire extinguishers. And so we've seen a couple of the officers wipe their eyes and try to spit out because they were struggling to breathe as well. So it makes it a very difficult situation. But it really is incredible what is happening here at UCLA. It's something that I will never forget.
Yeah, this is wild, lady. All right, guys, I'll leave it running. I'll be back in a little bit here.
Good luck. Don't do it! Hey, hold the line down here. You got another one? All right. Hold the line down here.
No, Mario.
This is a dynamic situation. You see some smoke here coming out of the encampment. Demonstrators inside the pro-Palestinian encampment outside the campus here for several days.
Cement. Quicksand, right? Sick. Right side of history. Is that quicksand right there, Sam? That right there, quicksand? Down there, you see that?
Quicksand?
Quicksand? I think that's what becomes cement. Sand?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay. Hey, come to us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, as you can see, more CHP officers have arrived, so they are going to be taking down the barricades here, the plywood. Okay, so they're asking us to move back a little bit. What I kept hearing from the people inside the encampment, please don't arrest us. Please don't arrest us. That's a little bit too late. The announcement came on at 6 p.m. yesterday, letting them know that this was, they needed to leave the encampment. And for many, many hours, we kept hearing a recording through the speaker system, letting them know that if they did not leave the encampment, they would be arrested. It took so many hours. Now you're watching it live here on Good Day LA. CHP moving in, busting down this encampment, and you can see all. What does this say here?
You need to get back. We're throwing everything here.
We'll get to your shots and we need you to back up, okay? Back up.
So they're asking us to move back for.
Back up behind our
Oh,
line.
lots of. Oh. Yeah, we have to move back. They're moving fast now. Before they were taking their time. Now with the. With all of the officers that came in, you can see they've already busted everything down, and they will take those remaining students. Some of the students I can see are running away, running through the back. Oh my goodness. This is really unbelievable. This is UCLA. Right here. Yeah, right here. And CHP officers that are firing the flash. Right now, you're going to watch it. It's right there. It's incredibly distracting. Oh. Right now, all I see is a sea of CHP officers dismantling the encampment. You can see that they moved in fast. As soon as you saw them walk in, they went right to them and started taking down the plywood and tossing it away. They told us to move back, and now they are moving closer to the students. But I did see several people running away in opposite direction. What I did hear before this group of CHP officers arrived was them saying, please don't arrest us, please don't arrest us. But earlier, they were tossing fire extinguishers in the officers' direction, the water bottles, just being defiant. And this is...
Once we get those easy ups out of the way, you guys can step up if you need to.
Thank you.
Stay behind the fence. Thank you.
I'm going to go for it.
You want to go that way? Let's go this way. front of that tent right here?
You are a cause not killing the sea. We are in the belly of the beast. United States Empire. These forces are not right. Still have you believe. That's your choice. Belly of the
Good, good. He can take his next. Like right here? To the second one? Minutes away. Should we start with them and then go to this, or do we do this and then go to that? Or should we start?